Commissioner Wittes, can you hear us here in the commissioner room?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I believe we are ready to get started. So I will go ahead and call us to order for the South County Fire Board of Commissioners regular board meeting for May 7, 2024. Calls to order, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, up next is the approval of the agenda. And since the agenda originally came out on Friday, there was an addition of the, 11A, the EMS week recognition, which is, I believe, the 19th. That was the only addition. Is there anything else for the agenda from the board members? Anything else? If not, I will move that we adopt the agenda that you have in front of you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Fernhoff. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next up, we have consent agenda, item number 4, including the claims vouchers totaling $1,565,335.93 and a prepaid voucher totaling $200. I will move that we approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
A second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Chan. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the consent agenda items? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Then we'll move forward in the agenda then to item number 5, which is approval of the meeting minutes. We have 2 sets of meeting minutes, the April 16, 2024 meeting minutes and the April 23, 2024 meeting minutes. I will move that we approve both of those meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Chan. It's been moved and seconded to approve those 2 meeting minutes, items 5A and B. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. We will then move forward in the agenda to item number 6, which is public comment. Is there any request for public comment tonight? And I believe in the room tonight, we have Roger Nystrom. Mr. Nystrom to make public comment. Mr. Nystrom, will you come up to the chair there? We have a microphone so that we can appropriately record you, and also so our guests online on Zoom can hear you here in the room.
Okay.
And Mr. Nystrom, could you state your name for the record?
My name is Roger Nystrom. Live at 6510 141st Street Southwest, Edmonds, Washington, right in the midst of your district.
Very good.
And appreciate your.
Mr. Nystrom, you have 3 minutes for public comment. Please proceed.
I'm here primarily I want to know what your plan is for addressing firework sale ban this year with the county council. If that's not on your agenda, then I missed the boat, but that's what I'm primarily here for. And secondly, I've been working with this with a number of other people for almost 10 years, and we're finally starting to perhaps see the light at the end of the tunnel. I hope so. And in my research, I ran across something, and I provided a handout or for all of you about what I discovered in the last few weeks. And I'll just go over it very quickly. There was a June 2023 council meeting, and the ordinance that is supposed to ban the sale of retail fireworks in the area where fireworks are illegal to use was tabled for the 2nd year in a row. And from what I've been able to discover, and I can't guarantee this is an accurate statement, but I've been told that the reason it was tabled then was because somebody needed more information. So I went back and looked at the email testimony for that meeting a year ago. And the summary is what I've got here. There were 50 comments. One was against banning the sale. 45 were for banning the sale, and 4 were so mixed up I couldn't figure out what they were. So 50 comments, plus or minus 1 or 2 either direction. I don't know, but the bottom line is 2% didn't want to ban sale of fireworks and 90% did. What more information do you need to know, council? That's my question. I hope you can use that in your discussion with the council coming up next week. And the other thing I would bring up is this could be a year just like 2015, fire-wise, climate-wise, snowpack-wise. In 2015, the governor couldn't even declare an emergency. He can now. And I believe that the fire marshal in Snohomish County has that authority also. And as a civilian, I would hope that you would push hard next week at the council to make sure that that provision is available if we do end up having as dry a summer as we did 10 years ago. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Nystrom. And
Any
we will be
questions?
talking about the fireworks, but just a little bit later in the agenda.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other request for public comment in the room? Well, let me go online then. Is there anybody online that's requesting public comment on the Zoom? Yeah. No? Okay, nobody online requesting. Very good. That is the conclusion then of public comment. We'll move forward in the agenda then to item number 7, which is the fire chief's report. Good evening, Chief Eastman.
Good evening. Tonight I'm going to have Chief Maxwell do the chief's report for you. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Maxwell.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair, Board, guests, liaisons. I think I covered everybody. We have a number of items in the chief's report, so I'll try to work expeditiously through it. The first item here is a wonderful human interest story. A veteran's wife had a medical emergency, and when they pulled over, it popped one of their tires. And the crews got there, took care of the medical emergency and got the person in the hospital, but the crews recognized it would cause a lot of strain on the family to figure out the tire situation. So the crew actually went to the Linwood Costco. They were very busy, but they accommodated the crews. They got the tires replaced. The crews went back out there, put the tires back on the minivan, and they were able to drive up to the hospital and visit their family. And it was funded through the South County Firefighters Foundation. A lot of people do paycheck deductions to fund that program. So just really neat. You can see everyone's names there, the captain, the firefighters, paramedics, the community paramedics, just really good work by our crews. I just love stories like this. So good work on all of them. Next topic. We will be asking you later to approve a resolution on EMS week, and that is happening at our downtown Edmonds station, May 18th from 11 to 1. And we'll have the popular with the kids, the teddy bear clinic. Maybe that's our youngest recruiting tool we use to get people into the fire service. Next one, please. And then thank you for those of you who attended the recognition ceremony. It went really well. Lots of laughter and actually a few emotional moments there as well. But it was a great great evening and a lot of success happened there. Next slide, please. I want to give the board two just primers. We're going to be coming back for discussion and action at later meetings. I mentioned earlier, we received the legislature approved funding that's being approved through the UW, and they're giving grants to help with the opiate crisis. Just some quick bullets just to put in your heads. We responded to 750 overdose related responses last year. This is a state innovation grant that gives us $350,000 a year. And as I mentioned earlier, it's most likely will be refunded on or funded on an annual renewal basis. The basics of it is we will be creating a playbook that will be used across the state for people to respond to the opiate crisis. One of the things we're going to get from the UW is they're going to do train the trainer. So train our people to train other firefighters in our organization to respond to behavioral health emergencies. As an EMT or a paramedic, you get very little initial training on that. So this is a gap in education and across the state, probably across the country. And then lastly, the outcomes, they're expected to decrease mortality, hopefully help our response because we'll be going on less of these responses, and you know, we would always help them, might even help the hospital wait times to take the pressure off the hospitals. And basically what this does is rather than just giving Narcan, which we are about to, an old grant, you may remember a few months ago, a Leave Behind Narcan program for high-risk people. We're going to be able to leave that in their homes. But with this, this grant, one of the main things is we're going to work to get them into treatment rather than just give them the antidote to take home. We're going to get on scene and work to get them into treatment to hopefully save their life. Next slide, please. This one will be probably coming in the next month or so. We got word from from Snohomish Regional. We needed to, they weren't quite as ready as they thought they were. But what they would like to do is have they have been trying to get a community medic program off the ground, and they've asked if they could partner with us since we have pretty good infrastructure, where they would actually pay us $175,000 annually. And the way this would start is we would provide 90 days of training to train their community medic. They'll provide staff, vehicle, and admin support in addition to the funding. And then we would also, if we're available, help out on the weekends since they're only going to have one. And that's just going to be in urgent situations, you know, as needed. That actually helps us because we get a lot of calls for the same people into the surfer area. So that will be probably coming in the next few weeks. I just wanted to prime everyone on that. Next slide, please. And then I guess I should have connected these two a little bit. We have scheduled our next recognition awards gala. It's going to be a little bit bigger event. And we're going to do it at the Tulalip Resort Casino next year. So that'll be March 7th. We'd just love it if you would all attend. Next slide, please. And a quick, sorry about that. I have a little typo there. The Sound transit status update. So right now we have about 75% of our crews have toured a lot of the stations. We are engaged in tabletop exercises, and our tech rescue are involved in doing tech rescue drills. All the $175,000 of equipment is all we've all received. It's in hand. The rescue apparatus has been ordered. We're participating in a full-scale drill on August 3rd, and they plan to go live August 30th. And speaking with our training and ops divisions, they feel well prepared and we have it well in hand. Next slide, please. Oh, yes, sir.
The full-scale drill is in Linwood or Mountain Lake Terrace?
It's going to be designed for us in Shoreline, probably along the border.
Okay.
It's going to have moulage, patients. It's going to be full scale,
Okay,
but it's
great.
designed for South County Fire and Shoreline, and probably will be along the border.
Okay. On the trackway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
And lastly, we received our IT security audit. And then any further discussion with the board should, that's protected or confidential. So any further discussion should probably be done in executive session if the board so chooses. And with that, I'll conclude my report and take any questions.
Great. Questions from the board members for either of the fire chiefs on the chief's report? Commissioner Fernhoff.
Yes, sir. Thank you for an excellent report. Back to your slide on, believe it was the $350,000 grant.
Yes, sir.
There's no requirement for matching funds on our end or anything like
No,
that,
sir.
right? I just
No,
want to make that apparent that it sounds like it's a icing on the cake and we go out of our way to conduct this program, but this program is fully funded externally and there is no matching fund or burden on the taxpayer. Is that correct?
That's correct. Thank you for clarifying that. It's designed probably to have a captain to oversee it and a community health worker, plus funding for any of the medication assisted treatment that would be involved.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear to citizens that might be monitoring because it's one of those things that we get tremendous benefit out of reducing 911 calls across the RFA, and this is at a $0, zero loss, but high benefit and high gain for the community. So thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Other questions for the chiefs? Commissioner Chan.
I got so many points. My gosh. Well, first of all, I think that's a very nice done for helping the replacing the tire.
Yes.
Because actually the two things, number one, you really show the spirit, not just
Yes.
saving them, but saving the future. I mean, that's the kindness, I think.
Yeah. I hear
No,
you,
it's okay,
Commissioner
yeah.
Chan. Thank you.
But also too, I see that as a prevention of another accident.
Yeah.
It's so critical for the tire. If you don't have a good tire, you basically, I'm guarantee you there will be a problem for that. So I know the foundation, when I used to be doing good, I really support that. Next time, let me know. But I haven't seen you guys done too much activity lately. Now the getting money on the board, those are the fire for the burn center, right? Or are they also foundation too?
That's separate.
That's a
The
separate.
Burn Foundation's separate than our,
That is only for burn center.
yes,
Okay,
right,
okay.
right. And that's more of a national program, where the Fire One
Right.
Foundation is our program.
But also at the same time, you get a good PR, goodwill to the residents. I think
Yeah,
that's
all
good.
the crews carry I don't know if they use a card or cash now, so they can buy diapers, medicines, and then the community medics, they may use it for an unhoused person to
Right.
get them a motel room for the night or something.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And also on the whatever. Well, I don't want to talk too much then. I better paramedic. So I did attend the IT. It was really good. I just really credited to the staff. They've done a good job. I want to relay that to IT people. That was really good. Yeah, I better keep quiet. Talk
Thanks.
too much.
Thanks. Yeah, we're really grateful. Our IT staff, they're so quick to help and they just do a great job. We really appreciate them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I did have a question for Chief Maxwell on the coming ILA and the $175,000 from Surfer to kind of help build up their community paramedic program. Do you have the bandwidth to, I mean, I think it's great that they are putting in money to do that. The question for you, or the question for me, is, do we have the bandwidth to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because that was my first question to them, and they assured me that they do. And part of that is, as you know, we have an admin support for our program. That's kind of the heavy lift, is having that back office support so that they can be out in the field, and they're going to provide that. So they're going to provide, the vehicle, the logistics, the admin support. And speaking with Captain Picknell, she just sees a lot of return in this, because our crews call us when they're outside our jurisdiction asking for help. So I think there's a 360-degree benefit from this. And I asked her that exact question. She said, yes, she does have the bandwidth.
Okay. I talked to a couple of fire commissioners from Surfer, and they're very excited about working with us on the program and the opportunity to build up their program. So that sounds great.
Thanks.
I did also have a comment for Chief Eastman on the recognition ceremony. I thought that was great. It's nice to see that back. I am very heartened to see that it's going to be, we're trying to get back on an annual cycle after COVID-19, and that it's already set for next March, which is great. And I just want to comment that I actually thought it was inspirational. There was some stories, some information that I learned there that I hadn't heard elsewhere, which I thought was, just shows the great work that the employees of South County Fire are engaged in, and selfless acts of courage on behalf of the community, both here and outside the immediate community. And so it's just as inspirational. I was really glad I went. So thanks for the opportunity to be there.
And I would say, I was glad that we had 3 commissioners there. I hope that in the 7th of March, you will be getting an email in the next two days. I'm not gonna say you'll get one tomorrow, but we've already got rooms booked, pre-booking. So, you'll get a link, to, if you choose to come and want to spend the night, because, it is a gala. So it's that you can pre-book your room. And I guess I would ask, if you want a room, I'd recommend you pre-book, because I think we're already asking for more as a result of what's already happened. And I guess I would hope that if your schedules permit, I would love to have all 7 commissioners at the event. I think just being part of it is this is done from the employee group as a base. This isn't done by executive leadership. It's not done by the governance. It's grown from the organization. This is becoming who we are. And I think part of where we are and what we are is because of the board, right? Policies and the budget and the role that the governance plays has helped this organization get to where we are, along with the great men and women out in the streets and the great men and women in the admin support perspective. But there is 3 legs to this stool, and the electeds play a big part of it. And our success is your success, and your success is our success. So I would ask if the board, we got lots of time, and I would love to have all 7, including our liaisons, to participate in that event. I was inspired too on Saturday, and I guarantee it won't be a waste of your evening, and you might even have some fun. So you'll be getting a link. It'll come from Susan. That's what it is. If you need any help with it, reach out to my office, and we'll make sure, if you want a room book, we'll make sure you get one.
Great. Thank you, Chief. Commissioner Chan.
Actually, that's one item I try not to, yes, definitely, because they're short hour, we don't have too much time kind of interact with the staff. I think that's a good invitation, and I definitely will do that. Also, questions I have on I know, can you refresh our memory a little bit, how we're going to attack, but because of light rail coming, I know that the plan, and you don't have to do it today, but maybe subsequently, a kind of
So-
more comprehensive
I
plan.
guess I'll fill in so our goal is to give you a update on Sound Transit, the first meeting of every month.
Right,
And I would anticipate that would continue through the year. So once it goes live, I think we'll give periodic updates just to keep the board, and we'll do it in Chief's report. And so if there's some specific things you want, Commissioner Chan, let my officer, let Sean know.
right.
And we'll make sure we add those in the next update we give you next month.
So I went to the line from Bellevue to Microsoft Technology. That was pretty nice, and just amazing that they're not gonna have any trial like that before August 30th? Do they have any run?
Yes.
They are?
Yes, their terminology is revenue versus non-revenue. So they're doing it. Yeah, that's over it. Motel 6.
So they are able to allow non-revenue.
Yeah,
Public
they
to
call
ride
it
on the-
non-revenue.
that?
They say they go revenue on August 30th. So yeah, so they're testing before that. They actually start accepting passengers and fares on August 30th.
Right. But I do think, I don't know, other people think, I will support if you guys want to have a EMS only type of station, because right now you cannot build a station with 2 years later, right? So yeah, let's discuss that. If really you think the traffic, I just see a lot of traffic blockage, and the traffic will be it is going to be bad. I tell you. Right.
We will definitely be monitoring that.
Yeah. I said many times that people would come from Arlington all the way, come down and take the train. I would too, right? Go all the way to airport. So just, I think we need to, we're predicting and watching it. Yeah.
Okay, we will move on in the agenda then. Thank you, Chief, to our legal report. And we have Rich Davis, our counsel, on Zoom. Good evening, Mr. Davis.
Good evening, Commissioners. Occasionally, I'll talk about a new case involving the Public Records Act, and this month is no exception. And the reason I do that, even though the Commission doesn't get directly involved with public records requests, except perhaps on occasion to maybe search your own personal devices, the reason I mention it is because this is one of those areas of liability that's not insurable. So if you do get sued by a requester, it is an uninsured risk. And so we take the Public Records Act obligations very seriously. We work closely with staff. There was a new case that was decided that provides yet another trap for the unwary, and it involved the Department of Corrections. And it's a typical kind of situation where the agency issued a closing letter. They felt they provided all the responsive documents, and it's typical to issue a final letter, and it's advised to do that because that starts what a 1-year statute of limitations for a requester to bring a suit against the agency. And so they did that, and then the requester had some follow-up questions. They did some further work. And the issue ultimately was, when did the statute of limitations start to run? And the court provided some additional guidance that kind of extends the law from what we had understood. So essentially now when you issue a closing letter, you have to say 3 things to the requester. Number 1, you have to advise the requester how the request was fulfilled and why we're now closing the request. And number 2, that the 1-year statute of limitations to seek judicial review has started to run. And number 3, that the requester can ask follow-up questions within a reasonable period of time. And you're entitled to define what that reasonable period of time is. Now, if questions do come in from the requester, you're not required to provide any additional records, but you can choose to do so if you wish. If you do so, then you need to issue that final closing letter yet again in order to trigger the 1-year statute of limitations. If you don't, then the statute never begins to run. We have, if you go to our website, we have updates on legal issues that we post from time to time. We're going to be posting something on this in the near future. And then what we do is we notify our clients that we've posted an information sheet. But Allison Beard in our office, who runs the public records practice area, has been in touch with staff on this and other public records issues, and work closely with staff to ensure that you're compliant with the case law that is ever evolving. So, just like I said, another trap for the unwary, but I know South County Fire is prepared for that, and staff is up to speed. So just wanted to provide that update tonight, and that's really all I have tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Commissioner Lawrence.
Hey, Rich, the state patrol just got hit with $750,000 was, is that a patent? Was that a troll that was just hit the jackpot here, or was that legitimately like malfeasance or something like that?
I didn't read that. Was that in the newspaper? I didn't see a case on that yet.
Uh,
It may have been at the trial court level, and I don't get those unless I read it in the
Okay.
newspaper.
uh, okay.
So I'm not sure.
Well, okay, let's, so I mean, it's worthwhile for some of these people to do the trolling and looking to catch people out, right?
Well,
Who
there
gets
is
the money on the fine?
well, the requester does.
Yeah, okay.
And I just noticed, I usually do a search before these commission meetings. I noticed in the last month alone, there is one requester who's been to court twice. There's 2 decisions issued involving that requester who I've seen with my other clients. Just there's kind of a business of suing agencies. And so, there's a lot of money to be made because the penalties can be very high. And again, it's uninsured. So the typical response by an agency is to try and settle before the costs get too high. So,
Yeah, thanks, Rich.
all right, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Davis? Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
All right, up next, we have our union report with Vice President Justin Pickens. Good evening, Vice President Pickens.
Good evening, commissioners and staff. I wish I was zooming to you from wherever Commissioner Wittes is zooming from, but alas, I'm here in my kitchen. I'm here tonight because President Moore is actually down at the Edmonds council meeting tonight, speaking in favor of annexation to the RFA. He also invited, some of you may know, but also invited Shoreline's union president to speak in favor of annexation to the RFA. So we had a e-board meeting today. I know that our political director, who you all know, Zach Cash, is already working to kind of get prepared for campaigning should they decide to move forward with that resolution requesting annexation. He's also working on getting ready to campaign for the benefit charge as well. Other than that, we're looking forward to our DC contract mediation on Friday. Optimistic that hopefully we can get something agreed to through that process. And the only other thing I have to report is obviously you guys are all probably aware of what's going on with Boeing I-66. A lot of our members have been out supporting them on the picket lines with their lockout, as well as we've sent them some financial support. So other than that, I don't have anything to report and would be happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Great, thank you, Vice President Pickens. Any questions from the board members? Any questions? No questions? Great. Thank you, Vice President Pickens. Thank you. Okay, next then, moving forward in the agenda, we have unfinished business, which is item 10A, and this is related to fireworks. Snohomish County Council hearing, which is next week. Our draft letter for sending to the council and the issue generally, and you'll find that at pages 53 through 62 in the packet. So I'll turn that over to Chief Eastman.
So just a little bit of background of where we are. And I don't know if I'll answer all your questions. But my number is easy to get. Give me a call and we can chat after this and I can give you the rest of what I miss or what I don't capture. We started this part of the journey with the county council last year. We met with I think we started with Strom Peterson's office. We had several meetings with 2 or 3 of the council people, and we're going down the path of at least getting the sale of fireworks banned in the area that discharge is banned. A lot of conversation with it, and we had as through that process, and I don't know exactly which meeting it was, but there was one of the companies that sells fireworks was doing some work. I want to say it's Pierce County, about a partial ban, which kind of put a little bit of snag in the conversation we were having at the county council level, which would have taken the total ban of discharge and changed it a little bit to allow certain fireworks and not allow fireworks and not all other fireworks, which we were adamantly opposed to from our position, because that would have just made things even more confusing than it is now. And as a result, as we were going through the process, we kind of got with the county council probably a little bit later. And we were getting to a place where we weren't going to, because of the process that the county goes through, we weren't going to get anything in front of the county to amend ordinance prior to the 4th of July. Which, what that means is for us to, for the county to actually put an ordinance in place and have the ban take effect, you need 12 months for that to happen. And so we were at a spot in our conversation with them where we weren't going to get anything done prior to the 4th of July last year completed, which meant that it would have happened after, and we'd have been in the spot where we are now, where if the county council takes action on the proposed ordinance they have, which is bang the sale in the same area that the discharge is banned prior to the 4th of July of this year, it will then take effect for 4th of July next year. And there's some reasons for that, and stuff I didn't realize is the folks that sell fireworks put their order in like on the 5th or 6th of July for the following year. So there's those logistical pieces. We tried hard to go down a path to have them, amend or change the ordinance or put the ordinance change in place prior to July of last year. That didn't happen. But as we go, Strom Peterson's office has kind of taken it in the ordinance. I know they had a committee meeting about it. Now they have their public hearing. Staff will be there. Myself, and I know Leslie Christie. I don't know who else from staff, probably Chief Anderson. I do know that Commissioner Kenny and Commissioner Wittes won't be available because they'll be out of town. So we are looking for a commissioner to join us if one is available to do that. We will be at the hearing on the 15th, starts at 10:30. I will say I was part of Snow Isle Commissioner meeting. I know the new sheriff is in support of the ban of sale in the area where the discharge is banned. Commissioner Kenny, I want to make sure I heard that right, because you were in the room when she was speaking at Snow Isle. But she was in favor of the ban of sale in the place where the discharge is banned, for the obvious confusion that it does. And so staff actually anticipates that the hearing will go well, and that the process will move forward, and they'll put the ordinance on the agenda at some time in the future. And we'll have the ordinance passed prior to the 4th of July, which means it'll take effect next year. So that's kind of the update of what I know. The Strom Peterson's office have kept Christy and Leslie engaged or informed. They've not asked of anything from us this year like they have in years past. I think they are going down a path and they're comfortable where it's at. They did ask us to be in attendance at the hearing. We will be there. And that's the update on where we were and where we are now with the conversation we've had about banning the sale. And I'll pause there for any questions that the board has before I turn it over to Christy.
Commissioner, our board liaison Swisher.
I did have one question. And it's because of the handout that Mr. Nystrom gave us all. If we have a really dry year, do our fire marshals have the ability to ban them completely?
So I can't talk about the sale, but they can, they have in 2000, they stopped all the public displays. So there is the ability for them to do that. I don't know in what statute it falls. I don't know all the detail behind that, but I do know, there is the ability to do that. The question is, by the time we know that we're in red fire or red flag conditions,
Mhm.
for wildland term.
Right.
In other words, the conditions are bad. If you already have the ability for people to buy fireworks,
Right.
right? In other words, they're probably not going to keep them from selling fireworks. And then you have the problem of they can ban it, but if people have already bought fireworks, we know what that means. So,
Right.
in theory, yes, they can, but we still will have the same problem.
Okay. And I don't know if any of you know how difficult it is for law enforcement to actually issue citations to people for this, but they actually have to see adult with flame to wick in order to be able to write them up. And they also the fireworks have to be within view for them to confiscate them. It is a challenge that we deal with in the city of Briar every year. And so unfortunately that I don't believe there's enough out there to help with the enforcement of it either.
No, you deal with the prosecuting attorney's office there's a whole nother huge variable that is way outside my area of expertise, but there's a whole lot of other moving pieces with regards to that component. I will tell you, county code does give the fire marshal the ability to ban the discharge of fireworks or restrict the sales if we get to those red flag conditions. But that's at the discretion of the county fire marshal too. Now, we do have some influence and we'll use our influence appropriately. So if that comes, any other questions with regards to that? It's county fire marshal. Yep.
Commissioner Rowland?
Just red teaming this a little bit. If I were one of the owners of these fireworks stands with this law in effect, I'm looking at those borders and probably going to set up right on the other side of the street on the edge of our area. Has the county council given any thought to language around this that might be within 5 miles of the border or something like that, or giving a buffer zone so that we don't have this, because most of the areas of this are highly populated, but once you get out a little bit, it goes into rural, right?
So I can tell you the ordinance change, what they did is where it says ban the discharge, it says ban discharge and sale. So it doesn't add any other language. It's a very, very simple ordinance change that does not do or does not take into account what you're suggesting. Just so it's
Okay.
all their hours is where it says discharge, they're putting and sale.
And the stands that do this would still be required to show the map of where discharge is illegal. Okay.
All that stays in play and all that stays in play.
Okay.
But I can tell you based on the work that Shawnee, Leslie and Christy did last year, 50% of the fireworks stands are in our area in the county. So
Understood.
It'll have an impact. And if we may have to go back and address some of the, like what you're talking about, Commissioner Rowland. If we get the county where I think they're going to go is ban the sale also. If we find there's challenges, we'll bring them up and we'll continue to have the conversation with the county council.
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction. I just would like to avoid having to play whack-a-mole if we can. Thank you.
Commissioner Lawrence?
Yeah, Mr. Nystrom, thanks for coming again. You were here before, I remember. Yeah,
Anytime.
my memory is not so great. Yeah, thank you because we've been, as the board has been before my time, coming against the sale and use here in our district. So thank you very much. And Chief, I think I could probably go with you, but that might be me there at the meeting might actually cause some fireworks to go off. So maybe somebody else would want to volunteer.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a question and comment.
Commissioner Chan?
Are we going to have, our sheriff to pay them to do that kind of?
So staff's working with that. We got a new sheriff and a new administrative team up at the sheriff's office. So we're having those conversations and we'll have further conversation with the board as we go and see the willingness of the sheriff to do the same work we've done in the past. Staff still preliminary working through that. So I don't have the total answer for you yet, but we're working on it.
No, I think she, when she ran for the sheriff, she basically, conversating with her that she completely support this. But that's very good. Mr. Nystrom, I think is more than 10 years. When we're going to that, and I was, no, but it's amazing that we got it done, and, besides the whole group of people that, went to that and supporting us, I think I appreciate it very much.
Commissioner Teoflag, then Commissioner Rowland, then Commissioner Lawrence. Commissioner Teoflag.
Is it best for just one commissioner to go, or do you think it's better for more than one?
The more the better.
Well, I guess it would be nice to have a commissioner there with staff. If there's more than one commissioner wants to go, we're obviously not going to say don't come. But it would be nice to have a commissioner there with, myself and Leslie and Christy and Todd. So obviously if two commissioners want to go, we're not going to say no. But at least one, just, we're this is going at the result of Strom Peterson's office in the county. This is being pushed by them now versus us pushing, which is different, right? And so I think we don't need to overwhelm them either. I think it's going where we need it to go. And I'm knowing what we know in the conversation we've had, I'm quite confident we're going to get the end that we were looking for. So at least one.
Well, unfortunately, I won't be here, but definitely we're encouraging one of you, and can even step up and speak, which, yeah, and that's in the past, we always would one commissioner speak. I think that's stronger message.
Commissioner Lawrence.
So that sounds like you're volunteering to go there.
I have to figure out childcare.
Okay.
So.
So about the sheriff, I had to go to Walmart the other day to get milk for the grandbaby visiting. They had a sheriff there on overtime. Well, maybe that's looking good for, extra sheriff bodies out there enforcing on 4th of July.
I still know that they're still
Those are
struggling
paid.
with the number of officers. They still have a shortage of officers. And so so I just know they're still short quite a few officers countywide. And there's several different ways they do that. Commissioner Lawrence, they can do it through an overtime basis, through the guild and stuff. So it's not necessarily on duty folks. It could be, some of the other ways to do it. And in the context we're talking about in different than going through the guild in this case.
So Chief, the time frame to organize for this year, because the ordinance change is great, but it won't be effective till next year. So this year will be like last year. In terms of the stuff that we're going to do, some of the things we've done are the signs available for free to people, yard signs for people to put in their yards. 2 years ago, I don't know about last year, we had rented or gotten some of those really big reader board signs, electronic that had fireworks messaging. And we've gotten, I think it was 2 years ago, was the sheriff's. I can't remember about last year. I don't think we had him last year. So I was just wondering, what can you reveal is currently in the works, or will you have an update for us maybe later in May or early in June?
So do you have an update of what? I'll let Christy go because her and Leslie and Sean are the ones doing the work. So I'll turn it over to Christy.
We have started working on our communications for July 4th. That will include making the yard signs available to residents, a very heavy social media campaign. And we're looking at other ways that we can continue to get the word out. But we do think that it is a strong message for residents to be posting ban signs in their yard.
Great, thank you. I think we do also we have a letter to the county council at page 62 and 65 of the packet. I think we need to approve that and then send that up to the council. Were there any comments from the board members about the content of that? If not, I'll move that the board authorize the chair to sign the letter and send that to the county council. So moved and seconded by Commissioner Teoflat. So moved and seconded to send the letter to the county council. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? If not, we will move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, passes unanimously. Thank you. And Chief, did you have anything else then on this subject, the fireworks subject?
No, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, sounds good. I think that closes the subject then. We will move on in the agenda then to item number 11, new business, which is the EMS week recognition. And the materials are at page 63 to 65 of the packet. And Chief Eastman, Chief Maxwell.
Yeah, well, turn it, I guess I'll apologize for it being added late to the agenda. That was me. But for the new business item, I'll turn it over to Chief Maxwell.
Thank you, board. And thanks for the late addition to the agenda. Yeah, we're doing what we do annually, asking you to pass a resolution supporting EMS week, which starts on May 19th. We'll be having another heavy social media presence to promote that, and the open house, as I mentioned earlier, down at our fire station 17, which is always has a great amount of people that attend that. Lots of kids there. This is our 50th anniversary for EMS, which seems like a long time, but that's a really young profession. It's came a long ways. So it's kind of an exciting milestone for the industry. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but President Moore stopped by my office today just to give a little story. And he was in another state at an unrelated meeting, and they found out he was with South County Fire. And he's like, how do you do what you do with EMS? And started explaining to President Moore the things they're doing, looking for guidance and advice. It was a pretty neat discussion to have someone find out you're from South County Fire in another state and say, how do you guys do what you do? So just really proud of our people. So with that, I would turn it back to you, Chair, to pass the resolution if you
Very good.
desire.
Well, let's first see if there's any questions or comments before we move to adopting the resolution. Not seeing any. I will go ahead and move that we adopt resolution 05072024-08, the resolution proclaiming May 19 through 25, 2024 as National Emergency Medical Services Week. It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been seconded by Commissioner Fernhoff. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the resolution. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, next up on the agenda, we have our committee updates, item 12, and we'll start with Capital Facilities, Commissioner Lawrence.
Yes, the property there on North Road, running into some issues with wetlands. It looks like it's going to be a 2-story building. That's the highlights for that. The Value Village property, they're moving along with doing the testing and that. And then there's some other things, but I think Jim, Chair, do you want to talk about anything else from that? Does that cover it enough?
I think that, yeah.
Okay, all right, that's it.
All right, next up is Finance and HR, Commissioner Chan.
Yeah, we will have a meeting tomorrow at 1:00. So.
Very good. Next up, Intergovernmental, Commissioner Wittes.
Nothing new unless the chief has something.
No, but I'm sure we'll have some stuff in the future with what's going on with Edmonds.
And then lastly, Snow 911 with Commissioner Fernhoff.
Yes, nothing to update. Our next meeting is scheduled for the 16th of this month, and that will be Zoom. versus in person. Thank you.
All right. That's the end of committee updates. That takes us forward in the agenda to item number 13, commissioner comments. And I think is there any commissioner comments? Any commissioner comments? I did have one issue that I wanted to just raise for your consideration, and that is our, for lack of a better way of saying it, our attendance is kind of low at the dish with the commish. And so I wanted to see if there was any flavor of the board around continuing that, which is every work session, so every second meeting of the month. Continuing that, or is there any thought about something less than every month? Or you want to think about it? But just raising that as to whether it makes sense to continue that in its current form or maybe in a different form. I know I'm just raising it now, and so, maybe we'll, Commissioner Fernhoff.
Could you clarify when you say attendance is low, what, who are we speaking?
Commissioner.
Commissioner attendance. Thank you very
Sorry.
much. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's been
Commissioner.
pointed out that a higher attendance would be more valuable. At the same token, I would also maybe direct a question to staff and ask, just solicit whether or not this is still bringing the value that it was intended. This idea was spawned from our workshop, if you remember, with the American team builder folks, that there was a disconnect between the field and the board. And so kind of a standard practice is a spaghetti solution, so to speak. And people bond better when they eat together and they're able to talk and these kinds of things. But I would probably ask from your side of the fence if folks still find it valuable, and if so, we'll continue. And if not, then we could take it under advisement to suspend it until such time that we actually do come up with a better solution. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Well, I just want my,
Commissioner Chan.
personally, I really enjoy that because I was able to really meet these people, right? Because we are so big. It used to be we can't know everybody, but this is the time we don't. And I think many times, to me, at least they're also polite too, maybe, it's a good exchange, just getting a little, knowing a little bit background, and also kind of let them know why do we do what we do? We're governance, different. So I guess I'm going back. I'm encouraging all our commissioners really trying to participate.
Any other comments? Oh, sorry, Chief.
I was just going to give a brief update. Chief Isotelo was online watching the public hearing, just to let you, a quick email, text message from him. There was 10 participants in total. At the public hearing, 6 speaking in favor of the city joining the RFA, 3 against, 1 either way, with he said typical. So the biggest thing I hear about folks is control. But so 10 people, 6 in favor. And so not a lot of people at the public hearing. So
Wait. Said 10 people.
10, the public hearing had 10 participants.
Oh, 10, okay.
6 spoke in favor of the city joining the RFA, 3 were against the city joining the RFA, and 1 spoke on either join the RFA or the city restarting the department. So just to give you a background of hot off the press, kind of what happened at their public hearing.
Commissioner Rowland.
I just want to say on the dish conversation, 2 things. Number one is definitely encourage all the commissioners, if you can make it, not necessarily to everyone, but try to get to them, because there are really good conversations that we have, having that one-on-one, and realize that with 15 stations and 4 shifts, I don't know if we've had any overlaps or any duplication, but I mean, it will take us 5 years of monthly dinners to be able to get through our entire organization. So there's a large portion of the organization that has never even participated. I'm not saying one way or the other. I want to make sure it's valuable. I know it's been valuable to me, and I think it's been a good tool. I think we've got a long way to go to get around to everybody, and if it's valuable to staff and not a huge inconvenience, I'd love to see it continue.
If you don't mind, Chair,
Sure,
one of the
go
other
ahead, Chief.
things is we started that concentrating on the rank and file out in the street. You know, the boots on the ground. But we haven't actually, I've had some ideas about bringing divisions in. You know, you don't know your finance, you know the director. But there's a whole lot of team behind the team. And so, one of the things that we've been thinking about is the ability to bring, you know, the HR division in for District Commission. You get to see your whole HR team, right? And get an idea of what they do and who they are and the work they do on the back, and then the finance group, and bring in our facilities and logistics folks, right? There's a whole lot of people in this organization that you know, keep it running and allow the folks out in the street to do the great work that they do, right? And it starts with the great work that's done with all the support side of the house too. So if we continue to do it, I'd like to actually at some point intermix it with some of the crew, but be able to bring some of our support within the division. We haven't done that yet, which is one of the things that I would, if we continue to do it, I'd like to expand it a little bit and bring, you know, your divisional folks in so you can see who they are, and they can see who you are and have some of that dialogue. So that's the only thing I would add to that if the board chooses to continue.
Commissioner Lawrence, and then Liaison Hoffman.
Chief, for when you say like the whole human resources and the crews, so they
Yeah.
can be talked
Yeah,
to.
we'd add a component,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
instead of bringing,
Gotcha.
you know, we bring a lot of crews in and what we can do is you know, we can balance it a
Mhm,
little bit and just add another component, and maybe, you know, one crew or two crew, right? You get a pretty good section of folks to come in. So
Yeah.
it'd be a balance, and at the
Yeah.
end of the day, and sometimes when crews get calls and they go, we still have components. So I think
Um,
it's a combination of the both.
At first blush, that sounds like, yeah. Good.
Liaison Hoffman, then Commissioner Rowland.
I just want to say, I think it's all positive. You know, I would encourage the commissioners to show up as much as it's possible to do so. And I think it's a great thing.
Commissioner Rowland.
I'm just thinking about it. I think I've probably made over half. Sometimes a little bit late getting here from work. But I want to make sure that if we're having people show up, that at least one of the commissioners does show up. I think maybe it would be a good idea on our end to make sure that we have certain commissioners each time that have agreed, yes, I'm going to be there, and make sure that we're, you know, not, I don't want anyone to feel like they show up for this and then we're not there until, you know, 7 o'clock, and then they feel like we don't care. So a little bit more coordination on our side might help out with that. I don't know what you know, sort of attendance figures you have or anything, but I know whenever I've come in, there's always been at least 2 commissioners here when I've shown up. So I don't think I've ever shown up and not had one here, but you know, just a thought.
Any other comments or questions? I think we'll stay the course based on the comments that we've had tonight. So very good. Good discussion. Thank you. Let's see. Any other commissioner comments? Any other commissioner comments? Okay, so next up we will have executive session. Why don't we take our evening break from 8:05 to 8:15? Start executive session at 8:15 to 9 o'clock. Call it for 45 minutes. This is going to be for collective bargaining pursuant to RCW 4230-144AB, and review the performance of a public employee pursuant to RCW 4230-110-1G. We do not anticipate taking action at the conclusion of executive session, and so we'll go into about a 10-minute recess and then reconvene in executive session. Thank you.
The executive session has been extended for 15 minutes. The executive session has been extended for 15 minutes. The executive session has been extended for 15 minutes. With that objection, the regular meeting is adjourned at 9:45 PM.